Hello, everybody. I was just about to say hello, one, hello, all. Welcome to Mentorship Monday. Whether you're watching on YouTube or listening to our podcast, we're so happy to have you here to talk about all things spiritual, all things going on in the world, psychic, healing, you name it. Maren and I have it. And my wonderful co-host, Maren, how are you doing?
I'm doing fabulous. Michelle, how are you?
I'm good. I'm very good. I feel
Hopefully, as
well
always.
rested. Yes, well, thank
Good.
you. You as well. Well rested and threw my back out this week. So that was interesting. I
I threw
haven't
my
done
neck
that.
out.
Did you really?
Yes.
Like,
Whoa.
yeah. Like I'm talking heating pad can't move.
I had to take a day off work. Yes. What?
Bad.
I feel like there was something that we did the same last week too. Like, are we starting to
Yeah. Yeah.
cycle the
There's a,
same, like the same
yeah, there's
energetic things are happening to us?
yes, yes. And remember everything, and this is kind of leading into what we're going to talk about today too, because our last recording we said we're going to talk about energy and predictions and what's going on. The everything that happens on a big scale is also happening on a smaller scale, and we can go smaller into our own life and go bigger into the collective energy. Well, there was a message that I received, and now if we go into my healing energy and what I understand about healing, understand that issues with the back, with the neck, we think about the chakras that that's connected to, has to do with support, has to do with trust. The neck is the neck, the ears, the throat chakra. So yes, on a personal level, we can get into those things as well in the areas that we are compromised. But the other thing is, there's a lot going on in the world, and we often go through, right? Okay, I'm going to say this one thing before I continue. Remember that there is never one truth to what we experience, even though there might be one thing that is more like, yeah, that's it, that's why this is happening. There's usually a layer to what's happening, and we may not have the awareness of all of it. But the more you work with your intuition, the more that you work with energy, the more information you will have. And so we talk about this with spirits as well, Maren, how a spirit they'll piggyback. They'll piggyback on each other. They'll piggyback on an opportunity to give a message, especially when there is, if I'm doing a group session, or if there's a limited amount of time to get a message out for one reason or another, they will double up on those messages. They might come through and say something specific, but it has other meanings to it. Or it has bringing in a message that, I don't know if I'm making sense saying this, I'm feeling the truth in this, but they piggyback. So they use the opportunity to deliver a message that has multiple meanings to it. Right? Makes sense?
Yeah.
So,
Mine will even be like, I one time I saw a lady sweeping something under the rug, and then the whole
mhm,
message was about like sweeping, the woman was sweeping her problems and like,
mhm,
hide and not dealing with her problems. So there
right.
was like even like a metaphoric layering
Yes,
to it. But
yes,
yeah.
yes. And that's exactly it, because you can have one message, and if you're willing to be open to it meaning more, you can often read more into it.
That's so now that I'm thinking about it, it was like when I said, "Oh, she's sweeping," she was like, "Oh, she was so into cleaning," and then but then it was also like, "But I'm selling my house and I need to clean,"
Uh-huh.
and so then there was that meaning, and then there went down to the meaning of she's not dealing with her problems. So it had like all these
Yes,
layers to
perfect
like the one
example.
image. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
perfect example. That's exactly it. And so keep that in the back of our minds, like for all of us, remember that. And also remember that truth is subjective. Like there are truths that are collective, like the hospital is located on such and such road, you turn left, the lights are there. But then there's truths that are connected to perception and experience, because we all know that our reality and how we experience things and what we're creating is through the lens that we have, and that lens is created either by the subconscious. So if we're not aware, and again, this is why the main message is know yourself. Know yourself, understand your beliefs, know where you're at, be open to, this is what I believe at this time, this is what I received at this time, but there may be more to it. There may be something I don't understand yet, because we're consistently growing. When we are on a journey of evolution and growing, what we feel or understand at one time, we will understand it differently as our consciousness expands, right? So we have to keep that in mind. And it's okay that you see something the way it is right now. And if you need to see it deeper, if it's required, if it's important, there's a lot of things we might just get that really aren't going to be that important to us. So it's important to also not fixate too much. If you feel you don't understand something, or you don't see the truth in it for you, it may be more important for somebody else. And let go of that, because if you need it, it will return. So when we remember that truth is subjective, we also have to understand that there are things, and this is really the main message with what we're about to talk about, because as many of us know, whether we watch the news or not, it's hard to ignore a lot of the things that are happening in the world around us. And there's a lot of conflicting information that comes out, and conflicting from reliable sources that many people rely on. That is, and Maren, I don't know if you know what I'm getting to here, but did you hear, okay, because this is what we're going to talk about to kind of get into our understanding of predictions and energy and what's happening and how to read energy. Did you hear about the drones, or what they're calling drones that
Okay.
are,
They're in like
did
New
you hear?
York or something. Is that right?
Yes. They're,
Okay. No, I have not heard anything. I, again,
okay.
do not watch the news, nothing. My husband like casually mentioned it today that his
That's
work
where I heard it
text
from too.
chain is like
Yeah.
blowing up from the people in New York are talking about what's happening
Yeah.
with the drones. And I was like, what? So no, I haven't had time to investigate it or search it up on my own, or like that's all I heard. So do you know, like, can you explain it to all of us?
I can explain it to the degree that I understand it and to what
Okay.
I've picked up on. Um,
Okay.
I don't
So
have all
what
the
is
answers.
happening? Okay.
Okay, so here's what I know before, and there's been a lot of messages come through spirit through different channeling sessions talking about there being UFO sightings, talking about the ocean, talking about having mass sightings and that sort of thing. That is happening. But from what I've picked up on with this particular situation of drones being seen in New Jersey, and there's some reported in Canada as well. There was some, Rob, my husband, he had seen a video with some in Hamilton, in Toronto, which is not far from where we are. And what I pick up from those is they are not UFOs. They are not, like, meaning it is not otherworldly, interdimensional. And here's the tricky part, is that at the very time that these drones are showing themselves, or are, I'm going to say, surveillance, that they are surveying, there is also orbs, spheres, energy that is also being sighted around the world. And
It like with the drones or just at the same time? There's orbs
with
and drones and
the drones. So I'll
with the
tell you
drones. Okay.
what I did to view it is I looked up a what was it? There's a live webcam that is in New Jersey that is right on the beach. And I went on the live webcam and watched and was able to see some of the drones and watch their patterns, watch how they're moving. There was quite a few of them that I saw, but there was also energy. And I look over at my husband and be like, what do you see? I want to make sure that are you seeing the same thing as me? Are you, and yes, he would see, and he could see the difference between these flashes and then these, like look like a mini airplane, like with the lights, right? And here's the thing. So when you're looking something up intuitively, and yes, I did ask Spirit some questions, and I will explain some of the bits and pieces I got from that. From what I see and what I feel, this is why having our balance, really keeping grounded and being able to look at things objectively, because our intuition and reading energy, there isn't logic to that. But when we bring it through to deliver it, it's like putting it through, in the best way that we can to have it make sense in a way that resonates, especially to bring it out. And what I'm saying doesn't mean it's the truth or that it's actually, because I don't know. I really don't know. But I do feel that it is US, that it is internal. I don't pick up on it being foreign bodies. There is activity that is interdimensional activity as well. The drones that are flying over people's homes and what they're seeing is not that activity. That has I can sense it has it has like a man-made physical energy to it. The question would be, why is that happening? And why is it that the US, and I'm specifically speaking of the US because that is what was brought to my attention to look at, why is it that that is being looked at as, we don't know what it is, we don't know why it's there, we're investigating? In my feeling, if I bring this energy to my logic, my feeling is that any country at this time in our world, specifically the US, would not have that many drones flying in airspace, considering what we as a world and what the US has experienced in that particular location. Does it seem logical that those drones would be flying and reaching the American population and outside of the US if they didn't have some idea of what it was? Because if it was a foreign body, they would not allow it.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't just be popping up every night the way that it
Well,
is.
when the Chinese weather balloon came by, we shot it down.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we
exactly.
engaged. So
That's right.
yeah.
That's right. So, there's some secrecy, and we understand that our governments, no matter where you live, no matter where you're listening or watching this, our governments hold back a great deal of information for various reasons. I do get the sense that there is some surveillance or surveying being done And I do feel that there is a connection to what is in the air, meaning the other thing that's floating, the orbs, the spheres.
Oh, okay.
So there is a connection there. So I went into my meditation and I asked, is there anything that I can see? Is there anything that would be useful? And truly, the only thing that came out was a very direct message. And remember, we can go in and ask questions. It doesn't mean that we're going to receive. It's funny because I'll sometimes get people go, well, you must have all the answers because you can just ask. Well, no, like I'm a human being and I'm living here and I do this work, but it doesn't mean that that's how, it doesn't work that way.
Or
Just
you
like
will
somebody
only
says,
get
well,
told, just kind of like how you were talking about the layers. Sometimes they only tell you
yes,
like, top
yes,
layer, and or maybe
yes,
they only tell you the bottom layer, and you don't,
yes.
it's like, yeah,
It's bits and pieces. And
yeah.
for whatever reason, and I've learned not to question that really, but to
Hmm.
just kind of feel through what's given to me and take what I feel is most important and let it go. So what did come through was and I'm going to paraphrase it because it's not exactly the way that I got the message because I didn't write this down, but it was along the lines of, this is a time that your discernment is most important. This is a time that you are cautious in what you decide to invest your energy into. Remember that there is a difference between being an observer or being knowledgeable, being aware, and being overly aware. Sometimes things happen that we will not have answers to until further on. And I get no fear with this, just as,
It's good.
I don't feel fear. I'm not getting that kind of energy. I am feeling that there's fear of many people. I do feel that, and I understand that, but I don't feel a nefarious feeling.
Okay.
I do feel that there are things from the energy that I felt when asking the question. And I'll just explain what they were showing me. They were showing me a map. And on this map, they were showing me all of these lights, which I took as the drones. And when they were saying, your discernment. So your discernment is, don't jump on the first thing that you hear. Because the biggest thing they were showing me is everything that's coming from the outside. Everything is coming from the outside. And we're going to hear a lot, especially in these next 3 months. We're going to hear
Okay.
a lot. And it's going to be in different places. Some of it's going to be in mainstream media. Some of it's going to be coming through social media. Some of it's going to be in conversations with people that we're going to hear people talking about, just like with texting in groups. And there's going to be a lot of talk. There's going to be a lot of theories, not only about this, but many other things that
Okay, that's
are
fascinating.
arising.
Okay.
Because as we've known for a very long time, we are in a different energy. And we shifted into this energy. Really, 2012 was a really big turning point for it. But where we really started to see what many were feeling was 2019, 2020. That's where things really started to come out in the physical in a way that many of us that were tuning into the energy were feeling. And this year feels like a bit of a wild card, like a bit of a surprise in some ways. And again, I'm not saying this in a way that is fearful. It's more of do your due diligence. Don't focus too much on, you know, on it being, because I keep getting how people are going to hear, it's another country, it's war, it's this. And I'm not saying there aren't things like that there are things that are going to pop up in those areas, because everything, when we understand our own healing journey, think about the collective, think about the earth. There is a healing journey occurring there too. And we've got multiple different energies that are vibrating. And so things have to come up to the surface. And that's really what is happening. And the mind, the awareness of a collective, because this involves many people, not just a small few. So the awareness is going to come forward. So a bit of shock, energy of shock, of some people, may even be anger that comes out. People that feel like they've not been told the truth. And so I can't quite attach the scenarios to that because I don't know. But in my meditation, they focused a lot on telling me to keep my head down, keep doing what I'm doing, keep doing my work, keep living my life, keep doing my day to day, do what you have your responsibilities for. Keep on track for what you know you need to do, and keep yourself grounded and keep yourself balanced. And I know we speak about that all the time, but it is so important, because think of how, and I look at myself 10 years ago, 15 years ago, this kind of stuff would have had me on CNN all day long. I would have been like, oh my God. And I'd be like talking about it and holy crap. And did you see that? Like that, I would be wound to the point where I'd have a difficulty functioning in my day-to-day life, because I'd be feeling so much and talking and trying to work things out and trying to understand it. And I'd spend all my time in all this other energy that I'd wear myself right out, burn myself out.
Yeah.
So I can definitely understand the importance of the journey of several years for myself of learning how to balance, how to, because it's taken a time, it's taken a journey to get to this point. And it is not something that you get to a point and go, okay, well, I don't have to do anything now. I'm all balanced. I'm good, because life flows and we need to continue to flow. It just gets a little easier. It gets easier. Things happen a bit more automatically when we've created new habits, those neural pathways. Everything is new.
Yeah, I was gonna say that reminded me of your one, I can't remember what day it was, challenge about reflecting on your triggers,
Yeah, yeah,
because it is true, once you reflect on your triggers, um you start to know what your triggers are. So then once you start getting triggered, you can kind of stop yourself and de-escalate yourself before you get to the, you know.
exactly, exactly. And that, like, that is practice. It's just practice. It's patience and practice, because like anything else, you put your effort into it, and the results you may not see for a while, but you'll feel it. You'll feel it. You'll
Yeah.
feel it, and you'll keep feeling it. So that's really what came out. Did I get any clear answers on what exactly they are? What's happening? The only thing that I got, because I did ask direct questions, and I asked if the US government or government officials did know what it is. And I got a yes. I got a yes. I got that they have a lot more awareness. And um, what I was intuitively picking up with that too is almost like a group, or like a not military. It feels different. It doesn't feel like military, although military might be aware of it, but it feels different. from the military. It feels like a different group, maybe a specialized group, I'm not sure. But it does feel like it's got US, the energy's grounded in the US. So, but there's some other things too. Like there's not just one kind. Now I've not gone into the energy of anything else other than I did feel the energy. I had a picture of one of the orbs, and it's interesting because I said to my husband, I have a picture. I'll have to try and find it so we can post it. But I have a picture and a video of an orb maybe about 6 or 7 years ago that my mom and I that came in our front yard. And it was in the summertime, and we were standing out front and we were talking, and I had my camera out because we had a lot of orbs, and I was showing her the difference between bugs and orbs, and just showing her like, this is why you know this is a bug, and this is how you know this is. Anyway, there was one that came in front of us that was like, it kind of looked like when you have those balls that you touch and the energy moves around it, like those
Oh yeah.
science, like the
Yep.
glass balls. That's
Yep.
kind of what it looked like. It had these little like lines and
Striations in it. Wow.
and this little like energy field around it, and it was lit from within, and it was pink and kind of a green, and it moved like this, like it was moving like this around us, and then it
Wow.
just like that just disappeared right in front of us.
Wow.
So it was really crazy because the one picture that I saw, and Rob and I were looking at it, and I'm like, that looks like that video. Remember that picture years ago? And he makes me laugh because he's so used to me the way that I am that nothing phases him. He's just like, oh yeah, it does, yeah, yeah. And I even last night I'm like, don't you think it's really cool? Like I said, it's amazing when we see these things happening in the world around us, and lots of people are experiencing them. I said, you know, I'm not so crazy, right? He just laughs and goes, no, you've always been crazy. But anyway, but that is interdimensional feeling. So,
The
and
orbs are
there's more than one of those.
interdimensional. Okay, that's
Mm-hmm.
interesting.
And they're
Do you
not
think it
all
has
the same type.
do you think it has anything related to your back, throwing your back out?
Yes, that's what I was bringing it all around to. Thank you for bringing that up, because when things like this is happening in the collective, when we go through these types of experiences, many of us that are working with energy, that are doing healing work, that are working with groups of people, we tend to pick up on something. And of course, what used to happen to me a lot was I used to get a virus, or I get an infection, or I went through a whole period like that, because the message that I was getting about the back was rest. You need to rest. You need to conserve your energy. I had all kinds of plans of things I needed to do this week, and that did not take place. And I've learned to really let go of that and be okay with taking care of, things come up. And we all know at one time I was like going out of my head when things were upside down with my schedule, with everything else. And it's very different today because I know, okay, if I don't really know why, I know I need to rest. I'm going to take that guidance and I'm going to rest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to slow it down. And the same for you, because we're not only working with this energy consciously, but there's a lot that's happening in the subconscious. And something else that I find that's really interesting is the ocean, and the talk about these drones and everything coming up from the ocean. Well, the ocean is representative of our subconscious. So energetically, that's how, when I see the ocean, and when the ocean comes up in my mind's eye, like in a session, in a reading, I know it's being referred to as the subconscious energy. So, I'm getting a lot of high pitch ringing. Are you getting any of that? Do you feel any of that right now?
I've had a woman here the whole time, but I ask you this because um I did a meditation the afternoon. I hurt my neck at night, and
Mm-hmm.
that the afternoon before or the evening before I did a meditation. And at the end of my meditation, I saw these beings. I think that they
Mm-hmm.
were the alien species that look like humans, but they're like
Yeah.
white hair, light
Yeah.
skin,
Yeah.
blue eyed, whoever they are. And anyways, I mean, so they look like human, but there was just something about them where I was like, I think you're from like another planet. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And they had this. There were three of them, and they had this light ray that they were making that would go up.
Mm-hmm.
And they told me, this is so random, but they told me that I needed to braid my hair. And I was like, that's so random. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And and I don't know, like I didn't braid. I don't know when I was like planning on braiding my hair, but I was like, okay, like that was my message that I got, is that I needed to braid my hair.
Mm-hmm.
And but then I took a shower at night, and I was like, if I braid my hair, it's gonna be all kinky, and like the morning, like, so I'll braid it tomorrow. I'll braid it tomorrow. And so like I go to bed, and I I was laying down, and I like used my neck to like turn in my sleep, and I heard it go, you know, and I was like, oh no. And then I like couldn't move. Like the rest of the night, I was like awake, and I was like, oh my God, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know how I'm gonna, my cousin was out of town. I was like, how am I even gonna get the kids off to school? But anyways, I woke up, my hair was like this, from the frizz and the whatever. And then you can't pull to brush your hair when you
Mm-hmm.
have a hurt neck. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, dang it, they told me to braid my hair. And that's why. It's
Oh.
like they
Oh.
were preparing me for this,
Yeah.
which then made me feel like, okay, hurting my neck is not random. It was
Mm-hmm.
planned, and there's a reason behind it. And so
Mm-hmm.
then when you said you hurt your back, I was like, oh my gosh, I think they're related. And
Mm-hmm.
then the fact that I got the message from these beings, and you're saying these orbs are interdimensional and they're
Mm-hmm.
connected to all this, I feel
Mm-hmm.
like they somehow are connected to all, like, I don't know, I feel,
Yeah.
I
Yes.
see the puzzle path,
Yes.
the
And
maze connecting
and
back to
that's
you, the
it.
dots connecting back to you.
That's like that is an important lesson right in itself, is that you see how everything will fit together, even though we don't have all the answers to it,
Mm-hmm.
but we know how it feels. We know what
Mm-hmm.
we've experienced, and we can align it and know that there is something bigger to this. And the
Yeah.
message of is keep doing what you're doing, keep listening, keep checking in.
Yeah.
And that was the other piece that I got in my meditation is, the importance of our spirit, the importance of checking in with whomever, whether it is the God of your understanding, source, your higher self, your spirit team, however you do that, the importance of checking in and doing everything that we know to do to take care of all levels of ourselves. And it's not about perfection. And I'll say it over and over. It's not about perfection. It is taking our own free will and our belief in knowing that by taking care of all parts of us to the best of our ability, the willingness to do that is going to give us the result of feeling more and more in alignment, so that I'm just getting right now, this is where our sense of security really comes from, is the practice of faith and the practice of belief and the continuation of that through challenging time. And I'll share something else, and this is maybe just a little sidestep from what we're talking about, but I'll share something else that came out in my meditation for me, is that the importance the importance of knowing who we are, and knowing where we've been and understanding that we may now be in a very different place than we were before, but that when we go through difficulty, which we all do, but when we go through, many of us, life-altering situations, challenges, those change us. And we have the opportunity to not allow it to scorn us or make us bitter. We have the opportunity to trust that there's a purpose to it, even if we don't know at the time. And the reason why I'm saying this is that when we keep tapping into our faith, and remember, as I say this, faith is you believing in something bigger than yourself that you are part of. And being able to nurture that, because there's a lot of things that occur when we go through hard times and when we victoriously walk through them and grow because we learned through it. There's often not a lot of validation that we're going to get around us. And so we learn how to feel that validation within us because we know we've grown. Because we know we no longer hold resentment or bitterness or whatever that is that we've learned. We feel it. And so the perseverance that keeps carrying us through is looking back on those days when we could barely trust, when we didn't know left from right, or we couldn't make a decision. And it's okay, because whatever has occurred in your life, whatever has happened in your life that maybe brought you to your knees, and maybe it was more than one thing, maybe it was several things, but whatever occurred and you kept getting back up, every time you get back up, that belief and that validation within yourself becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. And so as we walk through times where the world around us is uncertain and we don't know everything, we don't know really how things will turn out, and there may be a lot of fear that's around us, the trust in what we feel, and we may not have physical evidence to prove what we feel, but that nurturing the faith within us is what will help carry us through, to keep us grounded, to keep us balanced, to be able to use our logic when we need to discern through things. And so everyone listening here, everyone that's with us, can all look back, because I know everyone that's here has been through and is working through a journey. And just know that you may not get the validation on the outside in the way that you deserve, or in the way that we talk about the growth in our healing journey, and how important it is, and how important it is for us to validate ourselves. But just know that you don't need the validation on the outside, because when you continue to trust yourself and trust in Source, the God of your understanding, the greater part of you, when you trust in the universe is supporting you and is always supporting you, regardless on how the situation looks. When you trust in that, you will see that. And that's all the validation you truly need. Truly. So, anyway, that was kind of a little sidestep there that I just wanted to share, that I hope somebody can get a little something out of that message for.
That reminded me when you say balance, that reminded me of one of your challenge day activities where you said about welcoming the new energies and saying goodbye to the ones that didn't serve you and understanding what their purpose was or what you learned from that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I chose to say goodbye to self-doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that that will serve me next year. So I chose to say goodbye to self-doubt. And it
Yeah.
made me think, what in the world? What lesson does self-doubt teach you? Like, so I had to really think on that one.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I couldn't come up with anything. I was like, why would that, what purpose would that ever serve? And then finally, I heard acceptance. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh my God, that's it. Because when
Mm-hmm.
I think about this past year and I think, I want to be here, but I'm only here, or I only perceive myself as here. And
Mm-hmm.
so I have this self doubt that I'm not going to get here, or I'm not this person, or I'm not at this level. I have all this doubt in my mind. Um, I truly, to get past that, had to go, well, that's okay. I'm okay at this level. I'm whole at this level. I am learning at this level. You know what I mean? I had to
Mm-hmm.
accept
Mm-hmm.
that this level is okay and be
Mm-hmm.
fully okay with this level so that I can go to the next level. So I'm not looking at the lack between the levels, which would be the doubt. I was accepting where I am and ready to grow. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
it was a change of perception that I had to kind of work through.
Yeah.
And so I truly feel that acceptance is what I learned from my self-doubt.
Good.
So I'm ready to say, see you later, self-doubt.
Good.
Um,
That's a good one.
but anyways, it just kind of reminded me of like when you're talking about the faith and the trust and, like knowing where you are and knowing that you're supported. It's like, looking at self-doubt and going, I don't know, how in the world could I be supported when I'm having self-doubt? Or how in the world is that a learning lesson? It seems like only a me problem, you know what I mean? And but you truly are supported and learning a lesson. So I highly suggest doing that day's challenge. I don't
Mm-hmm.
remember what
I
day
can't
it
remember
was,
what
but sometime
day.
within the past week. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, that's really cool. So
It
thank you,
was funny
Michelle.
because, well, thank you. I'm glad you got something out of that. On what day was it? I think it was December 13th. I actually wrote the challenge out and then I didn't hit share and I went about my day and didn't realize it until I was awake at 4 o'clock in the morning. And it just dawned on me. And I opened and looked and I'm like, oh. So in
Oh,
case
whoops.
everybody's wondering why they got two very close together, that's why. Just the
Okay.
way it goes. But
Oh, yeah.
well, I have a great idea. Hey, guess what? You know what? I think now would be a really good time for us to continue this conversation and get into the prediction and talk about energy and how to work through energy cycles and predict. What do you think?
Should I agree? Should we wait and do that next week since we already have
Well,
a full.
I think so. I think so because I think we got a lot to talk about, and it would be a lot to ask everybody to sit through another big chunk of information because we got some good stuff.
Okay, I agree. So, well, that's good because then that means we're only taking a 1 week break instead of a 2 week break
That's
at the
right. That's
holidays.
right.
So
That's
that's
right.
exciting. So you guys have more to look forward to
Yes.
next week. It won't be an
Yes.
off week.
That's right.
Okay, cool.
Look at how
I
that
like
works.
that. Yeah, so
Carry us right through
stay
the holiday
tuned.
season.
Stay with us for the predictions. Um, anyways, well, Michelle, do you have an announcement about the post?
Yes. So Canada Post is on strike. They've been on strike, I think, beginning of December, end of November. I can't remember the date. So any art orders that I have, I've got some packaged. I've got one that's almost done, and I normally do send them through priority through Canada Post. So for those of you that are waiting, that's what's going on. I do have an announcement that's up on my website, so you can see that as well. But if you have any questions, email me. And if there's any rush that you're looking for it, now ASAP, or if you can wait, because I have a pretty good feeling that the strike will be over soon, because I think they're in talks. It could even be over this week. So hard to
Okay,
say.
good.
Yeah.
Good. We got to save Christmas.
Yes.
They
We
need to
need
get
to
this
see the
figured out.
Christmas cards. Oh, we don't get very
Yes.
many Christmas cards anymore. We don't get too
Oh,
many.
I know, but like if you order your presents online and stuff,
Yes.
that's,
Yes.
that
Yes.
wouldn't be good.
Yeah.
And save Hanukkah too, because there's a
Yeah.
presents at Hanukkah.
That's right.
All
That's
right.
right.
Save the holidays.
Save
Okay.
the
Well,
holidays, Santa.
I know.
We could write a movie. Anyway.
That would be actually a super cute new
Yes.
kids. I'm sure they've probably already done it. I feel like I've seen something where this magical
Yeah.
sleigh comes in and
Yes.
saves the post gets hung up from the snowstorm or something like
Yeah.
that, and then
I
Santa
just
comes
watched
and
one
saves
with
the day.
Marcus. I just watched one with
Oh,
Marcus the other night. There was like a Saving Christmas kind of one. Yeah. Good.
aw, so cute.
Hmm.
Well, everyone, enjoy your Christmas movies, holiday movies,
Hmm.
and stay warm and safe. And we will see you next week to continue the conversation on reading energy.
Sounds good.
Okay, sounds good.
All
All
right.
right.
Bye,
Bye,
everybody.
Michelle.
Bye,
Bye,
Maren.
everyone.